Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna give you important tips on how to step up your game and as a result rise in divisions. I divided it into 4 parts: pre-game, loading screen, in-game and post-game. So let's start with the first section, which is pre-game. Before you jump into a ranked game, you should do some warm-up first. Play a mechanics-based minigame for at least 5 minutes. I prefer to play several songs in Ozu, for example. In Ozu you need to hit circles and sliders to a song's rhythm, which is perfect to warm up your hands. Also make sure you don't feel hungry, tired or sick, as all 3 of these factors are huge concentration killers. Additionally, consider to do some push-ups or even go for a run before you start playing. It will calm your nerves and you won't get mad as fast. Alright, let's go to the next section. Loading screen / start of the game. First rule, don't AFK in loading screen. Use the time to look at yours and the enemy team composition. Things that you could work out in that time are, for example, which laners are the easiest to gank early game? Which buff do I start at and am I able to invade the enemy jungler early on? Which lane is the enemy jungler going to gank preferably? Can I counter gank it? Does my team composition have a strong team fight or is it better suited for split pushing? When does my team peak in terms of strength? When the enemies? Should we invade? Are they going to invade and can we counter that by waiting in a bush? These are just some examples of many and it helped me to win a lot more games. If you really wanna try hard, this is also the time to stop your music. Music takes away a part of your concentration, especially music that has lyrics in it. So if you want to listen to music during a ranked game, preferably choose music that has no singing in it. Okay, let's get to the third part, in-game. As soon as the game starts, definitely stop using Facebook or comparable activities. You don't want to know how many times I saw people die in the early game because they browsed the internet. And yeah, this also happens in Diamond. If you have a specific plan you want to execute in the early game, communicate it to your teammates. It might help them to adapt if they choose to help you with your play. An example would be that you're playing Shaco and want to invade the enemy jungler right after your first camp. If you tell that to your teammates, your mid laner might be able to fast push his or her lane and roam to help you out. Alright, next point. Let's say you're 10 minutes into the game. Your bot lane got double killed, your top laner lost his tower and your jungler did nothing but farming up to this point. If you're easily tilted through what your teammates are chatting like me, consider muting everyone as soon as the game starts, or move the chat out of screen range. Now resort to what we said about the loading screen. Even if the score is something like 15-5 in favor of the enemy team, don't give up. Just continue to play as good as you can. I've had so many games where my team was behind as fuck, flaming each other, etc. and I was still able to win them by continuing to focus on my own game. Regardless of how hard your team seems to feed, never ever blame anybody. Blaming helps nobody, you're only making everyone feel even worse. Just as good as everyone wants to win in ranked, the percentage of people that really do not want to win is extremely low. People that say they don't care are often just lying, because they are mad. Flaming them will only get them to tilt and maybe even leave the game. The one and only part about every ranked game you can change is your part, and that's exactly what your mindset should be. Focus on your mistakes and your possibilities. Never ever talk yourself into believing that your teammates are the reason that you cannot rise in divisions. Diamond to Challenger players are always able to start a smurf and get back to where they are on their main, probably in a pretty short amount of time. Also don't think that you can win every single game, because you won't. A win rate of 55% is more than enough to steadily get higher in ranking. It just means you need to play more. Just try your best to be as positive and ambitious as possible and it will automatically pass on to other people. That's it already for the in-game part, so let's move on to the last one, post-game. First thing to do if you got angry during the game and still are, is to get rid of your frustration. Otherwise it will probably transfer into the next game and the tiniest mistake by you or one of your teammates will get you tilted. Do push-ups, pause for some time or simply play another game that helps you get rid of it. Now, especially if you're lost and don't really know what you could have done better, go and analyze the replay if you have the motivation. I didn't do it for a far too long amount of time when I couldn't get out of Platinum. As soon as I started analyzing them, I was able to pick out tiny mistakes every single game, which made me much better at the game in the long run. You don't even have to watch the whole thing, but pick out some situations where you might have done something different, especially deaths. Ask yourself if it was worth it to die in this specific situation, or if it would have been better to just let your teammate die. Alright guys, that's it already. Of course, this is just a touch of the subjects, but if you have any questions considering anything I talked about in this video, feel free to ask in the comment section below. I'm also looking forward to any kind of criticism, positive or negative. See you next time.